Ben Carson writes a column this week at National Review about the Washington Redskins and the name game, and it has to do more with political correctness. Dr. Carson writes about what he calls the audacity of the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office in canceling the trademark of the Washington Redskins. He says it's frightening. When the government's in charge of deciding what is offensive and what is not, and has the power to punish the offenders, quote unquote, we move farther away from a free society and closer to a tyrannical nanny state. We're not talking about a political issue, he says, that should have Democrats and Republicans coming down on different sides, but rather the fundamental freedom to express oneself, which is a part of the fabric of America. There is no indication that a lot of people in the Native American community are upset with the name of the Redskins, he says, after decades of the team's prominent and proud display of its mascot and name, which is a real crucial point. Why now? After all of these years of the Washington Redskins and the Atlanta Braves. How about the Braves? Is that okay in Atlanta? The Cleveland Indians. Is every depiction of an Indian offensive? Why now? Well, Ben Carson knows why. He says this appears to be yet another case of purposefully induced hypersensitivity, providing yet another opportunity for unnecessary heavy-handed government tactics to infringe upon the peaceful existence of Americans. It's a very crucial point, because you have to ask yourself, that makes no sense to suddenly be offended by the Washington Redskins. It's stupidity. You want to know why they're pushing it? Why Democrats are largely pushing this? Power, government control, the government having the ability to deem what is offensive and what is not. Ben Carson says, I do not doubt for 1 minute that the Washington Redskins would change the name tomorrow if it thought it was truly offensive to most Native Americans. He said the majority of American citizens are still decent people who would not only demand a name change, but would vote with their feet and purses in a way that would send a loud and convincing message to the Redskins if they thought the name was offensive. It appears, he says, that many have forgotten the power of free market economic forces and instead have placed their trust in flawed government forces. Historically, the individual freedoms vanish as government interventions increase. He says traditionally sports teams choose mascots and names that bring them pride, not shame. There are numerous sports teams throughout America with colorful names and symbols, and they're not out to offend anyone. In a large, diverse society, it's likely that almost anything is offensive to someone. He says, I suspect there are those who are offended by the Duke Blue Devils. Some would ridiculously opine that this nomenclature pays homage to the forces of evil. Should we cater to such foolishness? Or should we grow up and focus on real issues such as unacceptable rates of employment, terrorism, energy development, education, poverty, a stagnant economy, massive corruption, illegal immigration, growing national debt, and many other things of greater importance? It's a great question that Ben Carson asks. We, the American people, must stop being distracted by peripheral issues and demand that our government officials focus their attention on the myriad problems that threaten to destroy our way of life. When, like the ancient Romans, he says, we're in danger of being distracted by relatively unimportant issues while our society crumbles beneath us.